So the first thing is to identify what's really bullying and what's not. And then like if there's a systematic pattern of people doing this, especially to people in low power, and then it's like to have a conversation with them and try to educate them. I'll say this in academia, like all my colleagues down my hall got hired as professors based on how good they were at doing research. None of them had any management experience, and that the moment they got hired, their main job is a manager and a teacher, two things that they weren't even evaluated on when we did interviews. And so guess what? Everybody's really good at publishing papers. There's huge variation in how good they are at running a lab, though. And so a lot of them are bad managers, bad mentors, mistreat, in my opinion, their students. And so the first thing is to like give them some education because they never got it. The second thing is to find out how to reward good mentoring or management behavior. In this case, like some people get away with bullying, as I said, because either it's not punished or in fact, the opposite. Sometimes it's rewarded. And so you have to work to change the contingencies of how you evaluate and promote people and give them feedback. And then the third thing is, if they're not gonna improve after the education and after the rewards, then you have to do the no asshole rule. I do think there's a point at which, and you're in HR, that they do cross a line and that that they're too harmful. And by the way, here's the research on this. If you hire a superstar, they lift everybody's performance, this was before virtual work, in about a 20-foot radius of offices around them. Everybody starts to get more successful and perform better. If you hire somebody who's toxic, an asshole or jerk at work, they drag down everybody's performance on the whole floor. So the effects of toxic people are more harmful than the benefits of like a star who's lifting people up. And so understand that that's what you're doing if you're having them. Even if they're really good, they're dragging people down. Can I tell you my favorite study?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I just love this study. This is a study on chickens. So this was a study by, I think the author was Will Perdue. He was just trying to raise productive chickens. And so he put chickens in a coop of 4, and then he took the most productive chicken who laid the most eggs, and then bred it with the other most productive chicken from another coop, and did that for 6 generations. And he thought, by the end of this, I'm gonna have super chickens. They're gonna be uber productive. At the end of 6 generations, he looked at the offspring of these super chickens, bred with other super chickens, and they were sociopaths. One chicken was killed. Another had all its feathers pecked clean by the other chickens in its coop. And they were not productive at all. So what was happening? He went back and looked. And what the chickens who were most productive were stealing the resources in their coop. Oh. And so they were taking more food and water than the other chickens and were bullying them. And that allowed them to be more productive. But if you're selecting and promoting people based on productivity, you are selecting for the bullying behaviors in chickens. If you just let them roam free and reproduce, those chickens that were the offspring of that were actually far more productive after 6 generations. And so even if you had just done nothing but letting them roam free, it was better than this. And I tell this story because I think that's the incentive structure in organizations. We get the people who are most productive, but we don't often think, what are they doing to get that productivity? Are they hoarding resources, using sharp elbows, bullying people, taking credit they don't serve? Or are they like lifting other people up?